that had joined us the last two meetings.
I was here last time.
Oh, yeah.
Object.
How dare you say that, son?
We're out of order. My mom had some doctor's appointments and stuff, so I said, he gets real antsy when he's in the waiting room, you know? So I said, I'll take him. So we went and had breakfast and kind of kill time. So I said, you know what, Dad? Come sit in the meetings.
I'll tell you a story when I was on the commission in Arlington, right? I ran, and my first election, I won 65% of the vote, right? And it was on the news and everything. And my mom was at assisted living at the time. She was kind of losing it. And I got there, Mom, I won. And she goes, Mijo, you failed, and you only got a 65.
Not knowing that is a
You're so proud of. Why are you so proud of 65?
She goes, nah, you
didn't win. You failed.
65. Thanks, Mom.
Made you feel.
She put me in my place.
Yeah.
Is this your part?
Yes. Well, I've been volunteering.
That's what I was going to say. Don't forget that Posadas pro bono give us a design.
But if they're going to cook us, it depends on how difficult it is on the side.
Well, he's not going to boot you well.
I guess I'm there.
Hey, man, they went over there to try to.
Oh, okay. So you're taking you're going to lead the meeting?
Yeah.
Good.
Me and Fabius and David.
No. Mike called me this morning. Right?
What do we see? Well, what we did, one of the
We're gonna put Mike on the spot here because he's in charge of that. They're in Edinburg and they're not doing shit.
Yesterday, the city manager was supposed to expect
Mike is part of the committee, right?
I haven't got no.
Yeah, that's what I told him to join us so we can get that.
Oh, he'll be here.
Yeah, told me to call him down.
It's going to be televised.
It's not.
That'll work, no? Get those guys. We'll get the
But he hasn't
Ronnie and I
told
can go
me.
to the high school program, so they know what's going on.
They're gonna spot for that.
Who would it? It's like getting involved and exposed.
He's taking
we
direction from
Edinburg.
just, man, that's a terrible way to run the school district.
Yeah.
Four high schools.
Not have the courage,
Yeah, courage. To put it nicely.
to do the right thing.
Yeah.
How you doing, David? Great. See you.
What's going on, buddy? You good?
Good. What are you guys messing with today?
The capable kids. Oh. Tell me now.
How are we doing? So,
World right now.
well, I was gonna get in the car.
What do you say? What do you say?
But I heard Ellie's going on Monday, right? We're gonna have a school district, so you're not going workshop.
No, I asked her.
They don't know
She's
anything
going
about it.
with her staff.
They just get words here and there, but they don't know.
The board doesn't.
Okay.
She's got her girls
We
over
got
there.
there.
But yet our capable kids committee chair is on their board.
Man, that's it.
They don't know what's going on. Yeah, somebody
We'll
else.
leave.
We'll city stuff. We'll run into them over there.
What they're gonna do is find a way to make better work in leadership. That's where you put them on the spot. If I had to join, it's council. Like a workshop with the people. So I don't know if you want to pants them. You know, like people do it.
You know I do.
I know, but it's the bigger picture of, let's see if we can have this joint workshop. And, because he says the location we want is a local expressway and Spray. He says because there's plans for a future building there.
Just a little kid.
And we have to go to Rochester. Yeah, so it's gonna be somewhere else. And he said, look, we'll offer events somewhere else. It's just that locations are taken for sanctions. So he's not saying that.
But a convenient for them to come up with that after it's been vacant for 30-some years. I used to practice baseball there when I was 12 years old. I'm 40, 30, what is it, 28 years?
So that's why he didn't tell me goes back to okay, that's where we're at. So that's why I'm thinking now with the coaching space.
Oh, they offered his dad a job.
I'll take their money and
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
mind
mind,
for him
but
to
it just
come over, but he's in far.
requires a little
He
finesse.
used to be here. That was it.
What other
Yes, but he said, look, what I can offer you is, you know, where Freddy Gonzalez, we have that place.
That was not there.
We have that water.
Can I ask for that? Publicly? Oh, no, probably. But we can ask Mike.
That's why I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, no, but you can ask Mike. There's no reason.
You gotta have that
You
team.
should. He may not even know, unless you're gonna reveal it.
Is that work with the administrator, so it's kind of
That, they their mission.
I mean,
trying to
did he-
develop a
did-
relationship.
Yeah.
Public.
So if Councilman Sullivan asks you,
He was
what
well,
are
he
the
was
superintendents say about this location?
he was looking at it because going into it.
The location might not work, but he's offered it up.
We got that.
They want to work together.
He was more like a line.
Trying to see,
More like a post. He was a post.
And if he asks you, what are they planning on doing there?
But
The CTE, Career Technology.
yes, yes, yes.
give me like a Doug
But
Judy.
did he say?
Only if the bond,
Doug Judy,
what else have we do?
So the bond doesn't pass.
Let the land.
Little receivers got back.
Down with the bond. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right, down with the bond.
Bailey or
Yeah, that's part of it. But did he say not to reveal that? He said that that's a plan. Because you don't want to put him on the spot.
did you
You
go
can
to
ask
the
somebody.
development council?
They said, look, you know, we have operating because there's a park on the thing with the water feature at the bottom. So, if they're dressed where you want to pretty much, you take over, right?
They're gonna
Ambrosio.
And 3-4 acres of this whole, right next to body. We'll give you that. So it's
Can
close
he
by.
really?
That's what it said.
That's strange.
So
Just trying to weasel around.
the thing is,
Versus, I think Mike would be the source. So there's a Mike will answer.
what he said, what he did say was surprised for him was the man.
Oh, you want
That was a Mike special.
million also?
You see? Yeah, he goes, I ain't gonna be that.
I didn't even know about that.
That was a Mike
Why don't you ask him?
Now the land he doesn't. He's got that plan. He's got to develop it. Just
Yeah, but he's saying that
the board doesn't.
the board is only giving us the land.
Blindside him once in a while.
You were there in that meeting?
No, it was just me. He was gonna try. So I kind of pushed it a little bit. He goes, I think I'll go with it. I don't have that money. Okay, so if anything, let me just say it's a guy. I don't know.
You gave it to Nick. I gave it to
But,
Nick.
but right there, the bye-bye, you guys can have it.
Those guys doing it free.
We got a gentleman coming over for the 10K. Yeah, just called me about a month ago if he can participate in this. We're gonna be with today to discuss how we're gonna do it. And the teacher at PJ, you know. And I asked the ladies to go over there and maybe make it a big show. I've got about
Yeah, when
Three
they
races.
had to take earmarks, something like 800,000 or 300,000 came back to 800,000.
So I met with him.
signed up, which means you double pay, they pay, there's gonna be, I don't know if we double. A lot of people don't make this walk in, they run.
Nah, just kidding.
Big crowd, Saturday.
I know, but I'm trying to.
Saying the nice name.
I'm trying to work with it. It's getting, like, look at this 5K, the 10K we got going on. We have about 7,000 people registered, about 5,000. Like, we need,
How's it going, Jabber, with the 10K?
like, y'all can.
Real good, man.
But we still need, I mean, like, we still fight, but we need that. I think
By
it's
surprise, with our,
chingazos with his mouth.
how many guys we have signed up for the 10K yet?
Not all 10K.
Yeah, but total registered.
The fun run is the main one. That's Canadian school kids. So that's
Yeah,
why.
they're not gonna back that. There's no, that is a premier thing for them as well. And how long's it already?
37
Yeah, they're not gonna cut it. They're not gonna cut it. Yeah.
To not push it.
No, 'cause
Not
now
push it,
they're
we throw some punches.
Yeah, right now they're pushing.
Maybe next year, they'll be like, oh, that's how much.
Employees, school, district employees, specifically
Yeah,
for the
it's
training
not-
program, for the arts program.
I'm not.
So that's where like. Not 100%.
be around there, right? After.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you. Saw you move up. My dad was getting antsy. Sat next to him. I appreciate that.
I think they should if we're gonna.
Yeah, pues I want you to. Do you want me to say the meeting? Yeah. I want you to say that the property is no longer feasible. Well, it doesn't have anything official. But that's what. Where'd you hear that? I had. No, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you off the hook. I just can't depend.
Like, I need them once in a while, but
Yeah.
yeah, like y'all can, but I don't.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. What?
Capable kids you want in here? She's got out of the DHR.
Yeah, she can be here. Yes.
It'd
We
be
don't do
good.
the uniform for the workshop, so we can.
Oh, we don't?
We can start whenever she gets here.
You wanna wait till that? Cause I think it would be important for them to hear.
Yeah. Food is here. Y'all wanna have a lunch first?
He knows we're talking about it. You just talk and look at him, talk and look at him, talk and look at him. He's gonna know.
She's on her way.
Oh, you waited for me?
Jelly's got it.
It's a workshop.
So, do we wait for her?
You wanna?
We don't have to start right now. At least it's posted. We can start. Y'all can just munch on food right now. Get this.
do have a quorum with Mayor Pro Tem David Torres, School Board Member Mike Farias, and myself, Jorge Salinas, present. We do have Mayor Molina and Councilmember Enriquez at a different meeting, I believe, with the MPO, kind of double scheduled with the COG, sorry. And so we're kind of double scheduled. That's why we're starting a little bit after the fact. We do have Mr. Isael Posadas from SDI Engineering joining us, as well as our EDC Director, Joey Trevino, Coach Javier Garza, Parks and Rec Director, Ms. Evelyn Cano from Capable Kids Foundation. Thank you for being here. Joey, was the meeting posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. This notice was posted on the 25th day of January 2019 at 12 p.m.
Thank you, sir. So we'll go straight into it. Number 3, discuss and consider the design charrette regarding the Capable Kids Park project with SDI Engineering.
Mr. President, members of the board, I appreciate you coming here at lunch hour on day number 3 of our capital improvements program. Before you today, we'll be discussing the Capable Kids project that SDI Engineering has provided a layout and cost estimates for us to look at in our financing plan to develop our final financing plan to borrow the money to do our 3 capital projects. In your packet, you have preliminary layouts and engineering estimates, and I'll introduce Mr. Posadas to go over this in detail. And we have any questions you may have, we'll try to answer as best we can.
Okay, good afternoon, Councilmember Salinas, members of the board. What we did is provide a layout at a location that we were requested to place the park. We had a building footprint of a particular playscape that I think the EDC has been working, or Capable Kids Foundation has been working with a particular vendor that provides these type of specialized equipment and playscape areas. What we have done is we've taken that design layout, put it to scale, and placed it at a location near a school or adjacent or within a school property, the LBJ Elementary School property in the northeast corner of Sprague and northbound Expressway 281. The design, and we've in your packet there is an exhibit showing you to scale that blob that you see there. That is the actual layout of the playscape, which includes over 70 or 75 stations, I believe. They're all ADA accessible and specialized for special needs. Children and actually of all ages, I believe. We've had several presentations with the Capable Kids Foundation Committee, where we've shown varying sites. This was just the last one that they've asked us to put it on. The only thing that we did different than maybe they'd seen in previous occasions, and for the first time you guys are seeing this, is that what we did is we added parking, approximately 70 or 75 parking spaces designed in a way that could expand in the future. And we also added the restroom facilities and a walking trail from there. And what we can do is we'll provide the exhibit, so maybe it could be shared on the production once this is reviewed.
Just for the record, this is an all-inclusive park.
This is an all-inclusive park, correct.
It's not just special needs.
Correct. It's an all-inclusive, which includes features that allow for kids of all types, of all varying degrees of abilities.
How many acres is this red square that you have here? How big is that?
It's approximately 3.8 acres.
3.8?
Yes, sir, about 400 by 415
So that's
feet.
not including the parking lot?
That is not including the parking lot, no, sir. We felt if we did something where, if this becomes a partnership, this would have to be a partnership with the school district. If that were to happen, we'd obviously want some features that both entities could utilize, similar to what we've been doing with other city and school parks, which is include additional parking, include areas that both entities could benefit from.
Can I go ahead and say something? So as far as the terminology, I don't know if the other board members that have been on the Parks Committee have stated, using the word all-inclusive sounds more like a resort. The terminology that is preferred by most self-advocates who have disabilities is to use an accessible park. Because accessibility will be anyone. It could be a veteran that went to war and lost a limb. So just when it comes to terminology, that's the preferred term.
What was that?
Accessible, yes. Ultra accessible. So Morgan's Wonderland. Morgan's Wonderland does use the word accessible. Like I serve on the Governor's Committee for People with Disabilities at the state level, and most self-advocates shy away. Now, the word inclusion is a great word, but inclusive sounds like a resort. So we got to be careful with that terminology moving forward. You're welcome. And in special needs, I was telling Mr. Javier the other day, another thing is that self-advocates and people with disabilities prefer to use people-first language, which is an individual with a disability or a different capability versus special needs park or special needs people or individuals with special needs. So because first and foremost, they want us to look at the person and then the disability. So if we can use those words when speaking, that would be great. I know a lot of people with a disability would appreciate those small changes.
And it's good that you're here to go ahead and do that, because this is all new to us, and we definitely don't take, we don't mean to be in any form insensitive.
There's a learning curve, no worries.
Sensitive.
Even me, I have a son with autism, but there's a learning curve to it, so I get it.
Yes. But we're glad you're here to point those things out, and that's why you were part of the committee, and that's why everything is working in yeah.
Wonderful, I'm glad you guys waited.
So let
We
me
wanted the expert to be here.
let me get that again. Individuals with special needs would take the place of what?
I would say that this will be a park that would be accessible to the entire community, including people with disabilities. So it would be an accessible park for all community members, because that leaves it open to the parent who is legally blind, who wants to bring their child to play. It leaves it open to someone who, like I said, who's been, in the war. It leaves it open to anyone who has a need that's different. So just accessible park for people with disabilities or accessible park for all community members.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may, this is another thing that I want us to make sure that we do with this park is I want to make sure that this is accessible all the time, not during school hours, because of the fact that we have down here in the valley is the largest concentration of adult daycare centers in the whole state of Texas. Down here in the valley, we have over 50% of all the adult daycare centers in the whole state of Texas. Okay? You could put Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio together, and we still have more adult daycare centers in the Rio Grande Valley than they all do. So I want this accessible to them. They need a place to take these individuals that are in wheelchairs, a place where they can go ahead and push them around in a sidewalk that's wide enough and accessible, and they're not getting stuck in ruts and stuff of that nature. Whereas the other park that we did in conjunction with the school district, during school hours, it's not available to the public, only after that and on the weekends. So I want to make sure that this is always accessible, not only to the whole community, because there's nothing like this anywhere. And I'm just excited that we're venturing into this to fulfilling a much needed need that's been there for years and years. And I'm excited that we're doing this and actually making a reality. So if we can go ahead and when we start working with the district to make sure that, and I like the way the design is, because it makes it accessible, correct?
Correct.
Okay, speaking on that, Mr. Farias, how do we go about doing that? Because I know all our other interlocal agreements that we have where there's a school like Norma Linda and different spots where there's parks, there is no access because of the school day. You know, you show up at 9 o'clock in the morning in your hoodie and wind pants and you're taking a jog around that track, and right away the cops are going to show up because you're a suspicious suspect because of the school kids that are 100 yards away. So is there something that, I mean, do we need a wall there, or like what actually needs to happen for it to be accessible throughout those hours?
I believe the way that Mr. Rosales put this together and the way it's situated, that fencing should take care of that. liability.
Is that fencing, that red line, or what?
The red line is not fencing, but we do have in the estimate, there is a cost item for fencing. There is the plan was if this were to occur and it was going to be where we needed to isolate the park from the school, that yes, a fence would have to be included in this, or relocation of existing fences. But again, this is a site based on the committee requesting us to put it on this site. The conversation needs to move to the school district to get their concurrence, and that's going to be the next step.
Yes.
Is this site still available? Because I've been hearing with the current bond that you guys are going to try to go out for, that this site was being looked at for career and technology. Have you heard that? Can you enlighten us?
Yes, I can. There are several sites that are being looked at for the CTE buildings, and nothing is done on concrete yet, nothing. But I will say that February the 12th, we have a regular scheduled board meeting at ECISD, and I would encourage you all, everybody, to show up. I'm very passionate when it comes to this park. I'm very passionate, as you know in my history, I'm very passionate when it comes to parks. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that this happens, not because I want it, but because it's needed. It's needed. And our district is going to benefit from this. I mean, we have, thousands of kids that don't have a place to be taken to. But not only that, but you know what? This is going to be the flagship, and we're going to be the pioneers to meet the need of what has to be out there for this. And so this is something that I believe Edinburg is all about. I believe Edinburg is in servicing our constituents and the needs of all our constituents, not just a certain sect. And here, it passes all boundaries. There's no politics here. This is a need, and we need to meet that need for our constituents and their children and the people to, do together. Because I love the point that it could be an individual that's a veteran that served our country, and you know what? May have lost some limbs or legs and isn't able to go to a regular park and play with their kid. Well, in this park, they can take their child and to go up to where the slide is, to go up to where the playground is and play with their child. So, yes, this is needed, and it's something that has to be done.
Thank you. All righty, so we kind of got sidetracked there for a little while. You want to go ahead and continue?
Yeah, the one thing you'll notice if you look at the detail of the estimate that I've got in here, decomposed granite trail. Well, the last time we met with the committee back in December 18th, with the Capable Kids Inclusive Park Committee, we discussed changing that to an asphalt type of trail, to make it easier for wheelchair accessibility around there. Although I think it may still comply with ADA, certain ADA requirements, but this is, as she mentioned, ultra accessible.
That's nice.
Is that a cost saving to go
No,
from
actually, it's fairly close to the same number. So you'll see the detail. It says decomposed granite. That number, I think, still fairly accurate. But just some of those little things I wanted to point out. The other thing too is the restroom facilities. Now, we did talk at length about the restroom facilities. It's going to be a little more specialized than any normal restroom. We think that price may fluctuate depending on the equipment. If the equipment needs to be a part of this, for instance, we understood, and it's been a learning experience for a lot of us, things we don't think about normally, at least I don't, and I've been very fortunate to have people from the Capable Kids kind of train us. But there are different types of systems, operated pulley systems for restrooms, for especially the heavier, the older, the bigger people that need assistance. And we're looking at having to look at those costs because they are not your typical ADA accessible.
And I know the ladies from our board gave you some information on the restroom facilities, but being on the governor's committee, I have access to some other information. The Capitol is looking towards, the Capitol in Austin, is looking towards making their restrooms more accessible with those, they are like, it almost is like a long area that goes up and down depending on weight capacity, and they are doing the same thing, and we have some vendors too, if you want to look into pricing with that I can provide as well. I didn't tell the rest of our board, but those are critical because what happens is if it doesn't have the right weight capacity, then you can break it, it can be a safety issue, and it would need to go up and down is the preference. Because a lot of times what happens now is people change their individuals or children with disabilities on the floor of a restroom.
You're talking about like a bench there?
No, it's not a bench. It's just like the diaper changing areas that kids have in the restrooms. It's a table, but this table is electronic and it goes up and down and it has a certain weight capacity. The hope is that it goes down to the level of where the hip is on the wheelchair to transfer them properly, but it has to have the right weight stipulations, and you have to adhere to ADA obviously as well.
So those are very specialized type of equipment that we haven't accounted for in the estimate.
Right, because that is more expensive, yes.
The estimate that we have there is based on our experience using normal restroom facilities. Now, the sizing was not a problem. The actual brick and mortar, that is not a problem. That is there, but the equipment, the specialized equipment, may add to the cost of construction. So I just wanted to
go up.
It could, or unless
it needs to.
it would have to, and maybe if there was a possibility, one of the discussions was whether we can try to find other revenue sources through other foundations that maybe can supply that. No, all we have to do is provide power.
Oh, the Rotary reached out to us. The current president of the Rotary right now is Marco Perez. I believe he sits on the committee with you, Mr. Farias. And he actually reached out last June when he took the Rotary presidency, and it's a year rotation that they're on, so he has until this June, and he always calls me up and he's like, hey, let's do it, because he wants to help out the Rotary, help in this cost. Let me ask you this, Mr. Posadas, since I don't know by the chart here, how far is the restroom from the actual playscape?
That's approximately 20 feet. You're looking at, that's an 8-foot trail, so just to give you an idea, that width of that trail is 8 feet. Take that by 3, that's 24, and then to walk around, depending on which way we're going to have the doors. This is very preliminary, but we think it's about 20 feet, más o menos, get us close to that part.
Okay, thank you.
Going backwards a little bit, because I know you represent this district in a lot of ways as far as construction. Who else is on the committee, Mike, for the school district, other than yourself? On the committee for that you've been meeting with?
With the capable kids? We do have some teachers that work for the district. We also have some parent advocates that are on there. We do have another member from Capable Kids also. We have also I've got all their names here, but it's a total of 6 plus me is 7.
7.
Yes.
No assistant superintendents, no other board members?
No, but I have gotten a verbal commitment from Javier Salinas. He has went ahead and told me that he is supporting that and that he wants to go ahead and do that. He even went ahead and said that he wanted Capable Kids to go visit his district in Hidalgo to go give a presentation over there. Correct? Yes, and then also, of course, Leti Garcia also is supporting, and so is Minga Vela.
You have communication with Rene Gutierrez?
Yes, as a matter of fact,
Or
Mr.
has he talked to you about the part?
We've only presented very preliminary things. That was, but I think depending on the direction that the committee wanted to go or how that communication would take place, I think the city manager might have had an opportunity already to speak with him.
I believe they met yesterday, but we haven't been briefed on what actually.
Correct. So
And I'm just asking so that I can, in order for me to help as best I can, I need to know where things are and who's been talked to and all that. Just for me to get a little bit light.
Mr. Farias, I believe we have you on the next meeting to present to the council, the committee.
Yes, well, see, the situation is that, what date is that next meeting?
I think it's Tuesday, right, Joe?
This the first meeting of the city? Yes, next Tuesday,
Okay,
a week from today, or yesterday. Seventh.
the 7th.
Oh,
okay.
that's right, Thursday, because we're leaving town.
Okay.
Yeah, next Thursday, a
Now,
week from
now,
tomorrow.
the only thing is that we have our regular scheduled board meeting on the 12th. So I'll have something concrete as far as presented to the public.
It's an agenda item, will it be?
Yes.
You're meeting with the school district on it, so you want us to push that to the second meeting?
Because then I'll have something concrete.
So we'll do that.
I have something concrete.
Ludi, make a note of that.
Is she gone?
She's
She's
watching.
Oh, she's watching.
She's watching in the office.
I was about to
always
say,
watching.
man, your eyes are better than mine.
Let's move Mike Farias's committee to the second meeting of January. February.
Good note.
Okay, didn't mean to interrupt, but just to see where we're at.
Did you need us present or no?
I need all of you.
No, not
There.
the school board one.
Yes.
the coun- the
No.
one that-
At the council
Oh,
meeting? too?
both.
Yes.
I think you need to be more present at the school board.
The 19th?
Do you know the date?
It'll be second Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month. Right.
What is it?
What do you got, Coach?
Tuesday, February 19th is a Tuesday.
19, that's
That
it.
would be the third Tuesday of the month?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be February 19th.
And Mr. President, I also like to point out that, as you notice, this is an 8-foot sidewalk.
Yes.
8 feet wide. And everything about this park is not just going to be ADA compatible or, yeah, ADA is the minimum. We got to go through the reality of what the needs are. And I appreciate the fact that we do have the Council of Capable Kids and letting us know, because they deal with it on a day-to-day basis. And they're not only advocates, but they're actually work with these children. And it's a great advantage to have somebody like them working on this committee. Because quite frankly, we could go ahead and stamp it ADA, but it really isn't going to really meet the needs, the practical, realistic needs. And I'm glad that they're here to help us with this whole process. I really am. And I'm glad that the mayor went ahead and did the committee to make this a reality.
Mr. Farias, do you know by any chance, was the school district, were they just going to donate the land, or were they actually going to give some money towards the project? I know we have 800,000 earmarked as far as from the city side.
Yes.
So we are- do you
The
know-
city is gonna?
I mean, the
okay.
EDC.
Well, the EDC, what I'm proposing here, what I put in the budget and the preliminary finance plan was this total amount. The 800,000 you were talking about was years ago, right, Nelda? The previous EDC board, but it was never approved. It was just proposed based on the cost of the equipment.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
And so, you know, what my idea was to bring the total amount into this new financing plan. And what I presented to you, the board, the EDC board last week was the 1.7. Yes, sir.
Now,
And there's no allocation, right?
No, we never had a, it was just, yeah, it was never approved.
Either way, do you know anything on that, Mike? or-
yeah, well, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for the board. Want to make sure that I say that. But what I am going to try my best to do or to persuade is the fact that not only the property, which has already been confirmed is not being used at all right now, but it would benefit them, and what I would like to do is for them to, like I said, I'd have to ask for them to participate in the actual cost of the parking lot, because that would benefit them during school hours, because that's additional parking that's already needed in that facility. Now, in doing that, hopefully the cost savings that we do on them doing the parking lot, we can do all the bells and whistles in those restrooms to make sure that we get what we really need. So that's what I'm going to be wanting to push for.
That's a great option. I was going to ask, does this EDC have a grant writer, someone that can help? Like, being a nonprofit, we are a vehicle to help with collaborations and grants. I toured a place in Plano called My Possibilities. It's a continuing education center. They had so many sponsors, like Central Market, HEB, Dr. Pepper from Snapple, and that's how they got to pay for their buses, for all the different things, because this is like 20 acres. This is college for people with disabilities. And so is there anything we can do as a nonprofit to aid with your grant writers to try to bring in some more funds to aid with the project?
I think the city does have the grant writers, and you know, we can start getting them involved in this process to, you know, to proceed with that, I think.
Even if that means helping with the restroom cost,
Right.
which is
The
a big
additional
one.
cost of-
Going back to the school district helping with the parking lot, Isaiah, what's the total cost of that parking lot that you have proposed there would be?
With the paving, drainage, I think we're looking at approximately 250,000.
Yeah, we're putting in 1.7.
Yes, sir.
Who owns well, I know
Close to that.
DHR is building on the southwest corner, right?
The, I believe that still belongs to the school district.
Belongs to the school, so it
Correct.
could be used, the parking there could be used also.
I don't know the agreement. There may have to be something that the school district may have to, like, of course, I think it's fenced off enough that there's separation between the clinic
Yeah.
and I believe there's already fencing between that clinic. Of course, we're looking at a shared driveway, entrance at least, to get into that additional parking.
Yeah.
Of course, that facility would have to be open all the time. I mean, it's open during the day.
What, you're talking about the clinic?
The clinic, that's correct.
The clinic shuts down, but they don't lock, I mean, there's no gate or anything.
For the
but
parking lot.
The parking lot's accessible.
Correct, but because of the driveway proximity to the expressway, we are anticipating that we will not be able to get a permit to add another driveway to that roadway. So we would just be looking at expanding that existing driveway to allow entrance, egress, ingress for the new area that we're designating here.
I think one thing also is the fencing of the area would probably have to be more decorative than just a regular chain fence, you know, brick or something more sturdy and visually better aesthetic there. So, I mean, that could increase the cost also.
Now, I believe the Capable Kids Foundation has already done a presentation. They did one to Rotary a few months back. It was a very good presentation, very detailed, and I think it opened a lot of eyes, and there were a lot of new information. And I think that we talked about this at that last committee meeting about trying to do the same kind of presentation to the varying entities. Now, what we've done in this, me and my firm, we're volunteering our services up to this point. So right now we're serving as just a community member at the request of the mayor to assist with this park. So that's what we have done so far. We are not acting on behalf of the school district, but we do a lot of work with the school district, and we want to make sure that, you know, whatever communication, we're not saying that this site is available, that this would be the approved site. This is just some preliminaries that were requested of us to provide, and we're volunteering that.
I want to say thank you. The city and the EDC appreciates, I know all this is your time and resources, and I know you are doing it pro bono. So on behalf of us and the mayor who couldn't be here, we do appreciate everything that you've provided and done for us up to this point.
Thank you.
Mr. President, based on that, I mean, it's not an officially approved site, and you know, I always want to plan ahead for Plan B. I mean, there might be if it doesn't work out with acquisition of other properties in town, and so I just want to be able to know that this is a pretty you know, good cost estimate, but we will probably have to add a little bit more just in case, and maybe we will have to work with the city to do that, to acquire additional land if there's, you know, for whatever reason. You know, I'm not saying it's going to not get approved or not. I just want to be prepared in our financing plan.
Mike, have you all discussed the Plan B, the preferred, because a lot of these sites are preferred to fit the needs? Anything? Just,
As well,
It's a Plan B site.
a Plan B site, we have discussed different sites.
you don't have to disclose them, but. I mean,
Yes,
just-
we have discussed
an
other
idea.
sites, but I'm being very stubborn and being very honest. This is the most accessible site, and it's convenient for not only Edinburg residents, but McAllen residents, FAR residents. It's right off the expressway. It's right there, and it's very visible, where not only that people know where it is, but I really believe this would be a gathering of all kinds of individuals, because there's nothing like this. The accessibility is so convenient. It isn't stuck somewhere in the middle of this or middle of that. Because even though the city of Edinburgh is putting all this money in it, and hopefully the school district would go ahead and dedicate some property to it, this is going to be something used by the valley.
Definitely. Coach Garza, you can attest to that. I know you did that soccer program. Do you want to speak about that and where we drew people from on that?
The soccer program.
Oh, the basketball,
When they used our facilities for the gym.
the gym. Parks and Rec.
You're talking about the gym. Right. When they
Okay,
did
okay.
this, there was indoor soccer. I remember.
There you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
so
right.
the opposite.
They did the indoor
I
soccer.
think you're talking about the toros que no.
No.
With little kids?
Yes. Yeah. Do you want? I mean, I know we had people coming from all over.
Oh, it was real. Martin and I were.
Want to get the mic, Coach? Please.
Martin Martinez on the Parks and Recreation, were witnessing the Miracle Mile, and we talked to Evelyn Esmeralda Leal as well. For the future, they had discussed that they had no place actually to go out and make activities for our kids. They had to go out and rent places and ask permission and stuff. And we said, we have a facility right there in the city of Edinburgh. We have 4 gyms, and throughout the day, and sometimes the weekends, nobody's using it. So we got together and we discussed some of the items that might, or some of the games or activities that might occur there. And thanks to the city council and Mayor Molina as well, we got together, we made an agreement. So now we have a 2-year agreement, and currently this Saturday they're going to have a dance. They're going to use our dance studios for the cheerleaders. So they have cheerleaders, they have all kinds of activities. They have soccer tournament. The first soccer tournament they had there at our facilities was real successful. You all witnessed. You all went by, and it was a beautiful event.
Packed.
Congratulations, it was a beautiful event. And correct me if I'm wrong, they're from all over the valley, from Brownsville all the way to Laredo, actually, right? And then all the way to Falfurrias, both counties.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
knew they
it's-
were coming from Laredo and pretty far away.
Ye-
They
and-
got their little groups.
Yeah, and I met some of the parents, and they were really appreciative. And just to look in their face, the kids playing and stuff, it was something special. So after the Miracle Mile, my understanding is some of the kids are going to go over across and participate in the dance studios as well. Yes. Yes, sir.
So that goes back, they're coming from all over, and with
Yeah.
it being right there off the expressway, that's the prime location. That's where we're shooting at, but of course, Plan B always needs to be.
Correctly. I just want to be financially sound.
Right,
when we go.
exactly.
So just to clarify, the 1.7 is the estimated cost, but that's not the allotted funds, or is it?
That is what we're proposing to the EDC to borrow that amount.
To borrow
Yes,
that?
so,
Okay, I see.
For,
I hate to be the bearer of bad news,
Uh-oh.
but as a board member, that's what we're hoping to kind of stick to, because we are an organization as far as the EDC, based on projections that we have to maximize everything at this point, and keeping it very simple with that.
No, we understand there has to be a budget.
Yeah, so we're going to have to
Absolutely.
really stick to the budget.
Okay, so, no, just so I can go back, report to the board exactly what, is being discussed today as far as the allotted funds.
And
I'm sorry, Michael. This is actually the 3rd meeting this week. We met Monday with the gyms. We're building 3 gyms also. We met yesterday with the resource center, branch of our library that we're also doing. So this is actually the 3rd day, and on all of those meetings, we've been kind of cut budget, what can we do different, open seating concept, and all these ideas we're throwing out there. But this project actually is first of all, it's the smallest budget at 1.7, but like we said, we've been trying to cut everywhere that we can, so we're going to try to do the best we can with what we have.
I just wanted to point out, Mr. Todres, you are not the bearer of bad news, because when we first started this, all we had was 853,000. So, you're not the bearer of bad news in any form or fashion, and I just thank you and the whole committee into looking at this and going above and beyond that, and really fulfilling the needs of this project. And also, just to let you know, we were looking at 3 more basketball courts, which is going to be also added benefit that we can also use for the kiddos too. And it's just more accessibility. It's more accessibility. So it's things are looking good. Yeah, so it's a real blessing, Mr. Torres, in the sense of the additional, because I wasn't even expecting this, and then all of a sudden I hear about it, I'm like, yay. So thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez, you just want to go through this cost estimate that you have here, that way it can be
Yes,
out
sir.
there so people can kind of see exactly where, now that we've thrown that money out there, the number, so they can see exactly what the breakdown is, just put you on the record a little bit.
Yes, sir. The estimate we have, this preliminary, based on the layout that we've got showing, you're looking at construction preparation, about $31,000. That's cutting up the existing site, bringing it to grade, all the temporary measures for stormwater pollution prevention, erosion control, traffic control plans. Then we had the walking, jogging trail. Of course, it's a decomposed granite is what it says here, but even if we transfer over to asphalt, it's going to be fairly close. You're looking about $117,000, $120,000. Then there's a playscape.
That includes, I'm sorry, that includes the benches, the
That
lighting,
includes benches, some concrete edging, trash receptacles, all the features that you would want to have around a walking trail. Obviously, you know, we just recently finished the Janet Vacker Park east of town, and I think it's, you know, having trash receptacles, I think, cuts down on a lot of people walking around with either drinks or something. They have a place to throw it away. People that go out and want to just watch others play within this area will have a place so they don't have to, you know, carry around too many things and dispose of their trash, and keeping it very clean. I think having that opportunity in benches is very important.
So you're using numbers that have been recently bid out?
These are very recent numbers.
Okay.
We just completed the project about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're going to have the ribbon cutting, an official one, here shortly. in the
February
next few
22nd.
weeks. Okay. So yes, these are fairly close numbers. And then the playscape and with the picnic canopies, this playscape area also includes the picnic areas that we've got showing. We're currently showing about 5 of those, some landscaping, irrigation, fountains, bike rack installation, because this is, as mentioned, an inclusive park, and so others may come, you know, on their bikes to enjoy the park. Now that's the big one. That's the $1,015,000, but that includes the $853,000 for the playscape itself. And then the buildings were.
Sorry, can you say that again? How much
It's
was the
1 million. I'm sorry. The playscape itself is about $853,000. That's the estimate.
Could
That
you
came from
expand on the
builder.
planescape?
That's the one with. That's the one that's shown here. The building or the playscape footprint is shown on the plan, and it includes approximately 75 stations. It's a cool to touch type of paint. It's been explained to us that even in this, you know, we have a problem sometimes the heat in the summer here in the valley, but this uses specialized coating that even in the heat, in the South Texas heat, when you touch it, it's still cool to the touch. So there isn't a problem with the kids burning themselves. We've learned through this process, the reason that's important is because sometimes some people with special needs can't really tell initially because of their sensory how to express that it's hot. And they may not be able to know that it's hot. They may burn themselves and not know that it's hot. So that's why that was important, because that is an added cost. It's not your normal playscape that we would put around the schools.
Where's the drinking fountain? Is that
Number
part of
20.
the restroom, or?
That's no. We actually would show. It may not be shown exactly on that site, but we're preparing for one being near the site.
Okay.
So it may not be shown. All the detail is not there yet,
Right.
but we are planning for at least one pedestal drinking fountain near that, and about 2 bike rack installations. And then the next item is the buildings, which is, in this case, it's one building, the restrooms, with its sewer connections and water connections. You're looking at about $139,000 or $140,000 approximately. And then additional site improvements. For instance, we need to extend power because we're going to have lighting. You're looking at $52,000. That includes also the water service connection and the dumpster enclosure. And actually, some of these may be shared costs because there is a dumpster enclosure nearby, but we'd have to work out that detail. And then after that, the next item is the parking lot. That includes sidewalks around the parking lot. the lighting for the parking area, the pavement markings, the striping. You're looking at approximately $163,000. And then drainage improvements for the site-wide, approximately $20,000. And actually, we also have what's called the drainage master plan. That's going to be all the off-site stuff. So we need to have some drainage within the site to carry off the rainwater, and then we're also going to have the connections to the city mains. That's another $21,000 or so.
A grand total of?
The total construction estimate, $1.5 million or $1.6 million. We do have in there engineering, surveying, construction management, about $156,000, and then materials testing, $23,000. Now we think we are able to offer us doing a lot of that volunteer and possibly on a just cost basis only, which would significantly drop that number.
If I may,
Let's speak here, what we just heard.
Correct. It's being
Now on the
recorded.
record.
It is.
Yeah,
being
that's
But-
correct.
but
I mean-
we know you've been doing it already.
I'm not picking
Yeah.
on you, you do that a lot.
Yeah.
Let the community know that.
And I want to tell you something. We've worked in Edinburg. A lot of us have been in Edinburg for a long time, working on a lot of construction projects. You know, I'm not the only one that I think would be willing to volunteer to a project like this. There are plenty of contractors that are currently working in the area that may have salvage material, for instance, from some of their highway work, that may be willing to donate that good material for projects like this. It's just a matter of first finding the site and then trying to go and pursue those, because I don't think this is a normal project. I don't consider it a normal project, a normal improvement project that we undertake. You know, and there's a lot going on in Edinburg right now with all of its drainage projects. There's a lot of activity here in Edinburg, and I think this is an important cause, and I think I wouldn't be the only one wanting to assist. So.
And we've done a good job, and it's always been the council to spread the wealth.
Sure.
So I know all the 10 different projects, as far as the drainage, are going to different engineers and different companies. So Joey, we need to make sure we chase those guys down and get, and if they have anything like you said left over, or just talk to them either way,
Correct.
reach out,
We
and
can-
if they can help in any way, we love it.
Yes.
We love it. The more we can do it, definitely.
and I just wanted to point out, Mr. President, if I could, that Isael Posadas approached me on wanting to volunteer. I didn't approach him. And that happened right out there when we were having a function. And I think that's the first time that you met these people.
Correct, yeah.
And he's like, who's that? And I told him a little bit about it and everything. He goes, well, whatever I can do. And, you know, a lot of people say whatever I can do, and then they never follow up. And then as soon as it happened, I didn't have to call him. He called me and goes, hey, what do you need? So I do appreciate the fact of you stepping up and doing your part and making this happen. I don't take it lightly. And you're right. There's a lot of other people that if they only knew what's actually going on, there's a lot of good people out there that will go ahead. And that's why I have a lot of faith in this. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, and because there's a lot of good people out there to make
And
this
if that entails us going to present to other contractors as a foundation, we're more than willing to do that, sir. And thank you for everything you're doing pro bono.
Got anything else, gentlemen? Questions, comments? Mr. Garza, Joey?
No, we'll just accumulate all the information we've received this week, and then our next board meeting, have that available for you in the presentation, and consider going forward on the financing plan and move forward.
All right, sounds good. DT, you good? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Torres, second by Mr. Farias. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Meeting adjourned. It is 1:19 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen. Yes, sir.